Kick off with J. Kick off with J. Welcome to another episode of Kick off with J.
Hello and welcome. It's Kick Off with Jay again, doing football analysis the way you love it, and as we promised, and as you always know, we do post-match and pre-match reviews right here of English Premier League games and also top 5 leagues in the world. And please do like and subscribe our videos to see more of our content. It's very important for the growth of the channel. And I don't do this alone. I do it with fantastic football analysts. And with me here again is the usual face. Welcome Mohammed. Is another lovely weekend to look up to right there in the English Premier League right there, and we have a lot of mouth-watering fixtures to look at.
Yeah, it's good. It's good to be back here. The last round of Premier League fixtures before the international break, and it promises some mouth-watering fixtures. The Liverpool, Aston Villa, the Manchester United, Arsenal versus Manchester United is also. These are the top 2 games for the week.
Yes, top games to look out for right there. Let's quickly move on. Let's quickly go to London and talk about that one right there. Tottenham Hotspur will be visiting Craven Cottage at right there, Vincent Kompany's side.
The top more.
Yes, sorry, tough one. Sorry, yes. And Vincent Kompany's side, I don't think they don't have a win yet in the Premier League. Play beautiful football. Also, Tottenham too have shown some improvement on the basics right there of their footballing philosophy. How do you think this one will pan out for both sides?
Well, I think one of the 2 players that have been making it tick for Tottenham Hotspur has been Bissouma and James Maddison, the 2 in the middle of the park. Bissouma in controlling the tempo and Maddison in terms of chances creation. But you know, when you go away to any Premier League side, it's always difficult away from home. And talking about the Turf Moor, it's not a place where you could just go and easily pick up a point. And for Burnley and Vincent Kompany, they need to realize that this is the Premier League. This is not the Championship. We saw them last season in the Championship. They blew all the teams away. But in as much as you want to play beautiful football, you need to back it up with results to show there is a clear pattern of progress.
Yes, to show there is a clear pattern of progress. Talking about progress, let's quickly move on to we'll quickly check Nottingham Forest, Chelsea, hosting Nottingham Forest right there. Awoniyi on a good streak, and Chelsea just won their first game against Luton Town at home for a long time. How do you think this one will pan out? Chelsea really need to start their league.
Well, in as much as Nottingham Forest are a threat in the Premier League, I think they've got a number of key players, and I personally like their pool. Look at the number of players they've signed. They got Keylor Navas, they got Montiel, so they always go on to get some of these top players that you don't expect for a team coming from the Championship. In as much as they were a threat for Arsenal and United, you still feel that this game is at Stamford Bridge. Chelsea needs to get that win. They need to pick up as many points as possible. And I won't want to say a straightforward win for Chelsea. Nottingham Forest will pose a threat for Chelsea on the counter-attack. Anthony Elanga, Gibbs White, these players are very rapid. But you expect Chelsea to have the possession, dominate the game, and try to win the game. But I think from the Nigerian point of view, we are all happy that Taiwo Awoniyi is bagging in those goals. He's got 3 goals in 3 against top teams in the Premier League, and this run started from last season. I think he's currently on a 7-game Premier League goal scoring streak. So I think it's really, really good. But in as much, I expect Chelsea to edge that one out.
Yes, Chelsea to dominate and maybe get another famous win right there, Stamford Bridge.
It's not a famous win.
It has been given that over the period of time, Chelsea have not been winning games at Stamford Bridge.
What should be a routine win is now a famous win. It's all right.
That's what Chelsea is right now, right there. So let's quickly move on to the champions and the defending champions of whatever, the Carabao Cup, Champions League, and
Manchester
also the
United won the
Premier League
Carabao Cup.
Okay, sorry, FA Cup. I mean,
Okay.
I thought Manchester City won everything. So sorry, right there. So let's talk about that one. Manchester City, I think, will be welcoming Fulham, and Fulham give Arsenal a run for their money, and you could make a point for them right there. The likes of Paulina has been very pivotal to how they play right there. That they, even though they were one man down, they still struggled, or let me not say struggled. They were able to get a point right there. Do you think Manchester City too? We're not really convinced in their last game. You could say yes, they went away from home. Do you think they'll pick maximum points?
Well, just like I said, you expect Man City to triumph over Fulham. The game is at the Etihad, although I think Pep Guardiola is still expected to miss out on the
Yes.
game. But I think this season the Premier League has shown there is no difficult game. Maybe except if you come up against a Luton side or whatever. If you play Luton, you could win. But every team is top. Every team is difficult. Every team is very difficult. But with the likes of Haaland, Bernardo Silva, and the quality that Man City have, you expect them to get all 3 points.
Yes, to get all the 3 points, and we move on to the big one right there. Arsenal versus Manchester United. Manchester United have only won 2 games out of 3 they played. They've not been so convincing generally in their play. And Arsenal, on the other side, have managed some very, 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 very edgy games. They've had some edgy games too, right there, and there have been issues whereby people have been talking about Arteta tinkering too much about the starting XN and the score generally. So what is your view on this game? How do you think it's going to pan out? It is at the Emirates, which plays a very big role. We've known these games to be we've known that some locations sometimes, or who is at home generally sometimes, have a little bit of edge when we're talking about this huge game in the Premier League, Arsenal versus Manchester.
Well, like you said earlier, the two teams I don't feel have gotten up to scratch, like based on what we've seen this season and based on the additions that they have added to the squad. And from the Arsenal point of view, I've said it and I always say it. I think Mikel Arteta needs to have a clear plan. I think although Arsenal are one of the most tactically diverse teams you can come up against because they have so many variations of how they can play. They can invert a centre back, invert a full back. They could play with 5. They could do a whole lot of things. But moving forward, you need to have this clear plan. You need to have a blueprint whereby you could just make little tweaks to it. But talking about this game, we saw us now drop points to Fulham, and I expect Mikel Arteta to make some of those tweaks. I don't expect to see Thomas Partey in a right inverted position, and I think Gabriel might just get his first start of the season. He's not played any of the 3 games. Overall, it's going to be a very difficult game from the Arsenal point of view. United have not been as compact as Eric Ten Hag would have wanted them to be, but this is a United team that you don't want to look down upon. It's really, but I expect goals from the two sides. We saw that last season, the 3-2, which was an end-to-end encounter as well. So I think Arsenal will have most of the ball trying to break United, and United will be looking for that transition. Well, I expect a very interesting fixture.
I too do, and it's a top fixture. We have to talk about it after.
And it could be a game where Rasmus Højlund will make his Manchester United debut.
Oh, let's see. I would love to watch that too. We've talked about the Jackson Højlund competition right there. We'll see how that one pans out in the Premier League generally. I have my own reservations, and I'll keep them to mind until the time to advance is here. So big game to look forward to, and we'll see how that one pans out generally. So let's quickly talk about the Aston Villa game. Aston Villa will be visiting Anfield right there. Liverpool got a very late snatch, a 3-point from Newcastle, 1 man down. Fantastic results right there. And also we know Emery and his track record since he came to Aston Villa is the one that has won most points aside from Pep Guardiola in the Premier League. Shows so much progress, so much experience, and how much the man has really changed the environment in Aston Villa. What do you think about this one going there?
Well, you should look at the transfer window. They've gone on to bring 1 or 2 names, but like you said earlier, the occasion and the location matters. When Liverpool were at their worst last season at Anfield, we saw Aston Villa. They came there and they could have won the game, but I fear for Aston Villa. We saw them against Newcastle away from home and they were blown away by Newcastle. They showed signs and sparkles of brilliance in that match. I think they lost 4-0 or 3-0 on the first game to 5-1 to Newcastle. So this same stadium, it's at Anfield. There's some most difficult stadium you don't want to play at Anfield. I'm talking from the Liverpool point of view. I personally I like their recruitment. They've gone on to sign 4 midfielders in the market. So I think Liverpool will show their powers. But my issue and my worry for Liverpool do not have a defensive midfielder. Gravenberch and Endo are not pure defensive midfielders. But if you can play with Endo against a Newcastle side, then you could escape it against most of the teams in the Premier League. I expect a very end-to-end stuff from Villa and Liverpool.
Yes, end-to-end stuff. That's what the Premier League is all about. And Anfield again, such a scary place to go to. Aston Villa have been brilliant on their own generally, right there from since Emery came. So we'll see how that one pans
There
out.
is also another important fixture. I think the Brighton Newcastle fixture.
I think you seem to be following Brighton now.
Well, it's really going to be an interesting one. Newcastle are also a Champions League side, and they've got Brighton. So I think the game will give us a whole lot of intensity. You will want to see Brighton playing out of the back from every single or 8 out of 10 situations. And the Newcastle's press is, should I say, one of the best in the world. They have so many physical specimen around the squad. So it's really going to be interesting.
I might not go for a press actually, because against West Ham, I saw that when Brighton cannot beat opponents to press them very high and open those spaces, they seem to be quite flat generally. I think West Ham read the game. I think David Moyes worked on how Brighton play generally.
Yeah, I also came across something. I said one way to get one against Brighton is not to press them. But like we said, Newcastle, they always want to press. They press with 3 players on the edge of the box from goal kicks. So I think it's really going to be a good game. A lot of turnovers, a lot of energy, and it should be one that should produce goals.
Yes, produce goals. That's what we want to see, and that should be a wrap on everything we do today. And please do like and subscribe our videos. Very important for the growth of the channel. And we'll see when we see. Bye bye.
Bye.